Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Kingdom Hearts 2 playthrough! It's time for us to visit our second world. I mean, technically it's our fourth, but it's our second Disney world. And yay, I'm excited. I like this Disney world, because I love the film that it comes from. Now, that was just a quick look at Jiminy's journal. I will talk about Jiminy's journal a little bit more later on, but for the time being, I want to focus on the here and now. Jiminy's journal stuff can come later. Now, with the gummy ship, as you progress, you will kind of, or at least should, unlock new blueprints for the gummy ship. Each one has its kind of strengths and weaknesses, and it's a bit weird. I'm not quite sure what all of the things do. I mean, I know the top one is health, and there's like firepower, speed, and all that sort of jazz. But I'm not quite sure what makes the best gummy ship, although I would say kind of having everything as strong as possible is probably a good route. And it is possible to skip this cutscene. I just didn't realise that for the longest time, and then eventually I did realise, and we skip it most of the time after that point, but I can't remember when that point comes! Now, the music here is exactly the same as it was in the other gummy ship section, so kind of they act very similarly. Now, this is a rather slightly embarrassing story, but I think it kind of is just a case of how everything looked on like old TVs. Is that for the longest time I couldn't tell what that was in the icon box for where the health is, because I was just like, it sort of looks like a weird version of Chip and Dale, or Chip, or Dale, or whatever. And because they do talk to you during the gummy ship segments, I thought that was sort of them, that was a little icon of them, but no, it's an icon of the gummy ship. As it really should be. Because as you can see, there is a even smaller little icon where it says gummy ship, that is basically the exact same thing, just in colour. So I was a slightly blind child, it seems. But I'm glad that I know what that is now. Now, after what was a very kind of poorly done first gummy ship mission, I would say, I think I do actually quite well on this one. I kind of was on it, and I believe I get quite a high rank on this one. But I have no idea what I did specifically with this one that I don't then do later on. It's really weird. I think it's just I hit a lot of things and didn't get hit, so I managed to up that rank quite quickly. Whereas in later missions it's a lot harder to actually do that. Also, if you kill the bigger enemies, then you get a higher rank, pretty much because you get more thingamajiggies. It's kind of basic logic, but it does need to be said every now and again, just to make sure that you get that sort of stuff. So you see, I did really well on that one, largely because I killed the big enemies, and that really, really helps matters. So, I'm not quite sure what the unlock method is behind getting the gummy ship blueprints, but you do want to be attempting to unlock as many as possible. Because as you progress through the gummy ship segments, they do get progressively harder, and you really, really need that health for the later ones, because they can be pretty damn challenging. Anyway, it's time for us to enter Beast's castle! Oh, I love Beauty and the Beast so much.
Hey, what is this place?
It's huge!
And sort of gloomy, don't you think?
I wonder who lives here.
Hey, does anybody else recognize that?
Hey, that's the Beast!
Yeah!
Maybe we should check up on him.
Look!
Come on!
So here we are in Beast's castle, which, as I've kind of said already, originates with Beauty and the Beast. Now, the Beast did turn up in the original Kingdom Hearts, but yes, we actually get to visit his home world this time, and that is generally a running theme throughout Kingdom Hearts 2, because we got to visit Mushu's world, we're going to get to visit another Summon's world later on, and so on and so forth. But Blum and Heartless are here as well, which is Blum and typical. Now, the field theme for Beast Castle is Waltz of the Damned, and the battle theme is Dance of the Daring. So there's sort of a dance theme going on, which makes sense considering the most famous scene from Beauty and the Beast is the ballroom scene with the ever wonderful Beauty and the Beast. That's the name of the song. It's not Tale as Old as Time. It is called Beauty and the Beast. Which so many people get wrong, which is slightly frustrating. Also, I do like having a lot of shadows to just slaughter, because they're such easy fodder. They kind of just go down in like one hit. It's brilliant.
Oh, come on, enough already!
Somebody help us! Help!
Just in time! Wah!
Gee, do you think he maybe forgot who we are?
With this many Heartless around, something must be up.
Why do you have to do that?
So, something weird is going on with the Beast, which shouldn't surprise anybody considering he's a very conflicted soul, is the Beast. After all, who could ever learn to love a beast? It's quite a nice little thing from the prologue of the film there. Now, I don't believe the Beast spoke to us, but he will do eventually. And he's voiced by Robbie Benson, as he was in the original 1991 film. Now, I don't think he's really been in that much. I mean, before Beauty and the Beast, his best known role was as George Gibbs in a made-for-TV film adaptation of the Thorne and Wilder play, Our Town. And then he's also been in a few other things, something called Death Be Not Proud, Lucky Lady, One-on-One. He was in the film The Chosen. And he's been on Broadway in The Pirates of Penzance. And yeah, but his most famous role is definitely the Beast. And he has kind of continued voicing the role ever since, really. Now, at this point, because we have an extra Keyblade, we are able to kind of switch and swap our keys about. At this point, the Kingdom Key becomes kind of pointless, as you want kind of stronger weapons that have actual abilities attached to them. It can lead to sort of a slight frustration in the sense of... how do I put this? Some Keyblades seem very out of place in the worlds that you will end up using them in. For example, Hidden Dragon does seem very out of place in Beast's Castle. There is a much more egregious instance of this kind of right near the end of the game, but we'll deal with that when we deal with it. And so, apparently Belle's here as well. Which is awesome. So Belle, as we will see soon, is voiced by Paige O'Hara, who also originated her in the film, and she's awesome. Her motion picture debut was Beauty and the Beast, but she did start her stuff on Broadway in a revival of Showboat as Ellie Mae Chipley, and she has performed in various other things, including Oklahoma and South Pacific. However, basically, when she did Belle, I don't think she really did a whole lot after that. Although I might be slightly wrong on that. I mean, there is something that's quite cool that she did. She portrays a character called Angela in a fictional soap opera for Enchanted, and I believe the music in the background is Beauty and the Beast, which is just great. Although, unfortunately, she has, as of 2011, she's been replaced because her voice has changed a lot over 20 years. But she's still awesome.
Open the door.
Oh, I'm so happy you're here. Donald. Sora. Goofy.
Hiya.
Put me down. Put
Oh.
me down.
Oh,
Yeah.
So we are set the task of going down to the dungeon to try and sort some stuff out in order to return the beast to his senses. Now, I don't know quite what it is. I think it's mostly to do with kind of making a 3D model of a 2D character, but something seems really off with Belle's hair. Like, she seems to have much more kind of forehead and face than where her hair kind of should seemingly sit. I don't know, it's a bit odd. I think it might just be me, but I do think the model looks slightly off, but it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. Also, large bodies. Oh god, I hate large bodies so much. They remain kind of one of my most hated Heartless ever. It's just like, why? Why would you put me through this? I don't want to kind of have to face anything that has a shield at the front. It's just not fun to defeat. Now, in terms of kind of Heartless that we are, that are thrown at us, kind of the main ones that we face are like large bodies, and I believe we've seen some hook bats, and there are a few others that are we're gonna face as we kind of progress through the world. But I think we're gonna come up against Lance Soldiers, Gargoyle Knights, and more really. But I have to say, this kind of world is reasonably notable because it has what is essentially a mid-boss. Like, quite a few of the worlds don't have that, but Beast's Castle does, and that's quite cool. Now, if you're wondering what the heck I'm doing, I'm basically trying to level up, because I believe I am slightly underleveled at present, and we are going to be facing that mid-boss that I was talking about. So, I want to stand as good a chance as is humanly possible, if that's kind of a good idea. I think it is. Although it does mean that I've got to face down stupid large bodies. Okay, we're not that underleveled, but getting up to level 15 is a nice round number to get to. We're not kind of just sitting off the edge of a level. And we can just kind of run and head into what I think is the West Wing, which is forbidden. You shouldn't be in the West Wing, but sod that. So here we have got what is essentially a little sort of challengey type thing, because our way to the Undercroft is blocked, unfortunately, by a certain large wardrobe. Just like, come on, Duck, move out the way, please. And as you can see, the wardrobe is alive, which, if you've seen the film, is absolutely no surprise at all, but to Sora and co, that is quite a shock. So, to move the wardrobe out of the way, you have to kind of push her while she's asleep. Don't go for too long, but basically when she kind of sort of begins to wake up, stop pushing, and then she'll eventually drift back to sleep, and eventually you will get her out of the door. It's very easy. And I don't know why they decided to throw this at us, because it doesn't really solve a whole lot. But, oh well. Now, this is kind of returning to my kind of roots of language and books and all that jazz. I mean, it's quite fitting, considering Belle loves books. But Undercroft is a bit of an odd thing, because it's not really a term that gets used a whole lot. I mean, basically, it means the crypt of a church, an underground vault or chamber, which is exactly what we're heading to, but it's not generally what you get. Anyway, I mean, its first use is in 1395 in an inventory thing, I think, where it's prop alta bete meredict ecclesi Canterbury encryptisque Undercroft vulgariter nun cupatia, and that is my horrible Latin, I think that is. Although it might be Middle English, I'm not sure. And then it appears again in 1601 in Godwin's Catalogue of the Bishops of England, and it's the monks buried it, meaning the body, immediately in the Undercroft. And then it is kind of got the same meaning since then, basically. And now we're at our mid-boss. Which is the surprisingly adorable Thresholder. Now, as a whole, the boss isn't that challenging, but it can screw you over if you aren't careful. Because it will kind of attack you a lot, it will throw extra heartless at you, and it's got a bloomin' stonking reach. And you're also forced to fight these gargoyles, which can be a pain. Now, the Thresholder isn't merely a heartless. It is kind of actually a sort of weird form of another type of heartless, which is the Possessor. Which, when we release it, is what we have to kill. Because essentially the Possessor has taken hold of the door, and that is what we need to kill, not necessarily the door. Now, a fun little point that's probably not mentioned that much is that in Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days, Roxas experiences a memory of Sora fighting Possessors in the Rabbit Hole section of Wonderland during Mission 47. However, Sora doesn't fight Possessors until Kingdom Hearts 2. So, basically you have a weird thing of Roxas and Sora's memories kind of beginning to blend before Roxas even knows exactly where he's come from. And anyway, that boss is done, and we can get on with Beast Castle and meet some friends who I quite like, because it means I get to talk about more voice actors, which is always just the best thing to do, really, isn't it?